really want to address. And I think CC allow me to address this one now, right? Because it has to do with something I read by the GRA officers. It says, and this is yesterday, GRA fired 6 employees over Mohammed vehicle transfers. Says anti-laundering charges coming. The Ghana Revenue Authority yesterday said it has terminated 6 employees, including a manager, and will bring anti-money laundering proceedings against them following an investigation into the transfer of 11 motor vehicles owned by U.S.-sanctioned businessman Azzuddin Mohammed. In the initial release, GRA said that proceedings would also be issued against Mohammed, but an amended release later removed this statement in keeping with the position that no local charges could be preferred against him while the U.S. extradition request for him on 11 counts is proceeding. Then they said documentation seen by this newspaper showed that the Licensing Revenue Office Department failed to follow standard operation procedures. Paradoxically, the document note that while the person involved or the persons involved were aware that Mohammed is a U.S. sanctioned individual, the SOP provided, and this is a quote, the SOP provided no provisions for such a criteria or a matter. End of quote. Despite this lack of formal framework, staff reportedly failed to seek guidance from supervisors and failed to acknowledge that restrictions had been imposed. However, several sources from GRA indicated no such restrictions or SOP are in place. Now, let me understand this thing. They're threatening with money laundering charge. Now, we're talking strictly policing here and so on. If you're going to bring, first of all, let me say this from the get-go. I'm going to tell you something just on money laundering. Let me say this from the get-go. Talking about money laundering charge when people may have transferred a vehicle against regulation is a stretch. That is designed to intimidate, because that doesn't smell nothing like money laundering. And I'm going to tell you what money laundering is. I'm going to tell you what money laundering is. It's a stretch. And the fact that these people were terminated, I hope that they follow the proper rules. I hope these people were given a chance to be heard and natural justice, and there was due process. But I doubt it. And I know that these people are union, they have unions that will look into their interests. I hope that all of this thing is being looked at, because one year they're going to fire people just like that. And all of this is political. All of this is political, right? Azzuddin Mohammed, enemy number one, uno numero, or whatever the Spanish is. Now, let me tell you all this. Money laundering. And this is what caused me to talk about this now, because they talk about money laundering. And if you're saying, as I've said, these people transfer these vehicles in violation of whatever procedure you have, how this reached to the stage of money laundering? How this reached money laundering? What is money laundering? Let me explain. And before I explain, let me tell you, I don't sit down home and lay down and sleep all day and all this stuff. I do a lot of reading. And I also did in recent times, I did courses plural, on money laundering. I did courses on money laundering, right? So I think I understand something about money laundering. As we say, money laundering. What is laundering? Let me imagine your clothes. You get your clothes, you want to launder your clothes. In other words, you're trying to make it clean. Yeah, your clothes is clean. Same concept applies. You have money which were illegally acquired, dirty money. You have to take it through a process, cleaning it, for it to appear to be legitimate money. Money laundering. I made some note. So it is the illegal process of disguising money from criminal activities to make it appear to come from legitimate sources, right? That is the laundering. That is the cleaning of the money, right? Now, let me go on. So, criminal activities, bar running drugs. And here, let me put this at the start. I'm going to give a lot of examples and so on, And I'm not referencing no particular individual, right? I'm not referencing no particular individual. So you have people laundering money. So what did it? You're running drugs. Big money. You can't go to the bank. As a general rule, you can't go to the bank and say, I depositing 2 million, 3 million. The questions are going to be asked. Questions going to be asked. So you have to find a way for this thing to appear legitimate. So you're taking bribes. You're taking money to outlet. You're taking money for issue license, whether it's gun license, whether it's driver's license. You're taking money. The cheese rolling. The cheese rolling. How do you clean it? Because again, you can decide that you get you bury them in the back of your yard, but that is risky. You can decide to put it under your mattress. That too is risky, right? But then you can't go to the bank and deposit it, because if you were to do that, it's gonna be suspicious. It's gonna be suspicious, and you're gonna track what you call a suspicious activity report. So you have to find some way of trying to clean this money. So what are some of the ways, right, that they try to to do it? You establish some business, right? You open a shop, open a little cake shop. You organize some sporting event, football, cricket. You bring in some artists, right? Artists to come, and you do things like that, right? You open a supermarket. You get involved in used car dealership, yeah, and life insurance policies, especially the policies with cash value. You're doing that. You follow me? You're getting there. So you get these things, and what happens? You get a little cake shop, and what? Cake shop ain't gonna make no money. I remember the idea is to launder this money. But when you are going to go and bank this money now, you're banking bit to say, well, this is profit from your business. You're going to declare that as profit from this business, even though your business isn't making all the money. The business isn't making the money, but you're using that as a cover to go and thing. You're using it as a cover to bring the money, the dirty money, into the system. You organize a show. Bring in some artists, right? You organize a game. You get gates, you're collecting gates. You're then going to declare that how this thing was so successful. Millions and millions of dollars you make. And then you're going to, when you declare the source of this income, you're going to say, oh, this is from the activity I had over the weekend. You're cleaning the money, right? You're cleaning the money all the time. Now, when you come to things like businesses, let me say you get a gas station, and you are going there now, and you're declaring a lot of profit and so on, right? A proper investigation will look to see what type of profit margin other similar businesses in that industry are making. So if the average man across the board, let me say they're making $1 million a week, and you decide that you go in and you banking $3-4 million, that becomes suspicious right away. It becomes suspicious because the pattern is not in keeping with the particular industry. So you got to go through that process to launder the money. We had a case some time ago where the officer had said, when he was questioned by the financial intelligence unit, after the bank had reported, I think it was $40-something million deposited, I said, well, there's money accumulated. You get incentive. You don't pay. You don't have to spend his salary. You getting food free and all of this type of thing. Money laundering, cleaning the money. Obviously, the money came from some type of illegal source, and you're cleaning the money. You are cleaning the money. Now, once you do that, once you get this money now, then there are 3 stages. Let me refer 3 stages really. We're talking about the first stage is the placement. The second stage is the layering. And the third stage is the integration. So placement, what we talking about placement? You bring in the thing, you introduce it in legitimately, try to introduce it into the financial system. The dirty money, you try to bring it into the system, right? You're breaking large cash and you're bringing it and you're putting it here and so on. You all remember the cash jet, man, because there's something they call layering. If you, in the United States, even in Guyana, if you were to deposit a certain amount of money, think in the US is $10,000 or more, that automatically triggers a suspicious activity report. The bank are compelled by law to report it, right? People would have complained to in Guyana, they got to open a bank account, they have to ask other question about the source of income. Yeah, that is the law, anti-money laundering law. So what happens in some cases? People know, for example, in the States, that if you go on your bank $10,000, it triggers this suspicious activity report. So they try to do what they call layering. You're in banking 10,000, you're going to bank 9,000. But in a week, in a short space of time, you're banking several sums of 9,000 or less. That too will trigger a suspicious activity report. You're not over the 10,000, but because of the frequency of the deposits, and you might get several bank account. You're going to put some here, you're going to put some there. It can trigger the report, and that is what caught the cash. Remember the jet man from Guyana. Remember, you open several accounts and then he go in and he layer in, he put in a little piece here, you get in the anti name and the thing. But the system showed it. And he was alarmed, they alarmed him, right? They alarmed him. So you have that. You have to try to get the money into the system. Now, once you do that, right, the layering part, you wire money maybe to different countries, different funds, and all this type of thing. You're trying to clean it again. You're trying to clean it. And then the final stage is when you're going to do the integration, right? In this stage, the money is inserted back into legitimate economy, appearing to be legally earned. This can involve now, this way now, you buy real estate. This is what he meant to real estate, you know, right? So when you clean the money, right, still illegal money, you try to get it now, you integrate it back now into the legitimate system. So you buy luxury goods, you buy real estate, you open some legitimate business, and then that is the process of money laundering. But when you are going to investigate the money laundering, it's not an easy thing. You have to be specially trained and specially skilled. The people in the banks, all banks and all financial institutions, especially in the US, I know about in Guyana, right? Because the document I was reading relates to the US. They require people in these positions to go through this type of training so that they can detect suspicious activities. If you are into the insurance business, it is mandatory that they have to go through that type of anti-money laundering training so that they can identify a person come to take out a policy for $2-3 million and they're concerned about certain aspects and all these type of things, that they want the cash value and they want to surrender it after a certain time. It triggers a suspicion. It becomes suspicious. And the system is of such that a proper and thorough investigation should be launched. So but the system in Guyana, despite what Nandalal went to something and said, it's very weak. Very, very weak. All them enough businesses they get, whether it's real estate, whether it's used car dealership, whether it's sporting activities, all of those things are suspicious. I'm not saying that they are part of money laundering. Let me understand it clearly. But I know from past experience, many times when you have these things, they are financed by people who are involved in illegal activities. Many times they are financed. So you want all a show, you want to hear something, right? You're the front man, but somebody come and put a lot of money, give you the money. It's clean, they're cleaning it. So I tell you, come, I can sponsor this show for $1 million US. I want so much money, and so on. It's money laundering. And having said that, I find it extremely difficult, given what took place with these vehicles that they are alleging, that they're threatening to charge people with money laundering. Right? Yeah, Dennis, the thing single premium annuity and all this everything. Huh? You talk about index universal policies and with cash value and all. They use those things to launder money. So again, I say, having regards to the definition and the little explanation that I give, I don't know how they're going to come and tell people that these people at the GRA who might have transferred vehicles against the policies of the agency are going to be charging money laundering. That is what they say. I hope the report wrong. But as I've said, they come with these things to terrorize people. And that is why I tell you all, we are going to do the research. We're going to come and we're going to clarify certain things. We're going to clarify certain things. Right? So let me bring in CC and then we're going to, I think I got something else I want to talk. CC, I said a lot about this money laundering thing. Anything you need?
Yeah. Not so much about the money laundering, but the GRA people that they sent home. I don't know if they had a right to be heard. I don't know if they follow the rule of law. I don't know if they had disciplinary code, the SOPs. I don't know if they had union representative and a whole sort of thing. I believe, they somewhere along the line they jumped the gun or they were instructed to do certain things that you can't just send me home like that. You have to get a right to be heard. We had plenty cases in the police force. Remember Hilton Cummings, Commander Morbius, he was sent home, not given the right to be heard. One is case, you had John Seeley, I think he was senior super or somewhere on East Coast, sent home. So the thing is that if you want to do things, follow the rule of law. And they're talking about the right to be heard. And the right to be heard is a God-given right. It started in the beginning. It started in Genesis when Adam and Eve picked the forbidden fruit from the poisonous tree. The Lord knew what happened, and he didn't pass judgment on them right away. He called them and asked them before he passed judgment. He gave them the right to be heard. And it's a God-given right, and nobody must take away the right from you. And when you're dealing with these matters here, there's a right to be heard. You must hear the other side of the story before you pass judgment on anybody.
Right, so let's see where that will go because as I've said, they claim that the people are dismissed. I don't know what procedure they have there in that agency, but as CC said, you have natural justice, but they don't look. Let me understand with this lawless government. They don't care about natural justice or anything. Dismiss you. If you want, go and fight it in the High Court. That is the story. Go and fight it in the High Court if you want. Lawless. Go and fight it if you want. And it all has to do with Azzuddin Mohammed. They're suffering from Lamborghini-itis. So everything is about Azzuddin Mohammed. Everything. The speaker, he resigned yet? And I asked